2007. Turn on the radio and one voice is impossible to avoid. Warped, pitch shifted, unlike anything else out at the time. Not everyone is convinced yet. Critics call it a gimmick. Purists call it cheating. Within 2 years, one of hip-hop's biggest names will release a song with a title that says "The Mission Out Loud," D.O.A., Death of Auto-Tune. But look at where this man actually stands right now in 2007. #1 album in America, #1 single. His voice is also sitting on someone else's #1 record, all in the same year. 20 years later, that sound is still the industry's default setting. This is the story of Epiphany. June 5th, 2007. A rapper and singer named T-Pain releases his second album. He calls it Epiphany. The label credit tells you exactly how he got here. Nappy Boy Entertainment, his own imprint, sitting alongside Akon's Convict Music and Jive Records under the Zomba label group, backing an artist who started out with nothing but a basement label of his own and a strange idea about his voice. It debuts at #1 on the Billboard 200, moving somewhere around 170 to 180,000 copies in its first week, enough to beat out Rihanna's Good Girl Gone Bad the same week. By any commercial measure, Epiphany is an immediate, total success, and almost everyone talking about it wants to talk about exactly one thing: the voice. To understand that voice, go back further to Tallahassee, Florida, and a rapper born Fahim Rashid Najm. He comes up in a group called Nappy Heads, starts his own small label, Hard and B, in 2002, and along the way records a remix of an Akon song called Locked Up that caught Akon's attention. Akon signs him to Convict Music, a label he is just getting off the ground, and Fahim Najm becomes one of its first and most defining artists under a new name, T-Pain. His solo debut, rapper turned singer, comes out in December of 2005. And this, not Epiphany, is where the sound is actually born. The lead single, I'm Sprung, comes out that August and climbs to #8 on the Hot 100. It is on this first album that T-Pain locks in the thing that will define him, a voice run constantly through a piece of software most people have never heard of, called Auto-Tune. Auto-Tune is not new in 2005. Antares Audio Technologies releases it back in 1997, built by an engineer named Dr. Andy Hildebrand. Its original job is nearly invisible. Quietly nudge a slightly flat or sharp note back into place, so cleanly nobody notices it happened. The first time most people hear it as an actual effect, rather than an invisible fix, is Cher's Believe, in 1998. That warble on her voice is auto-tune pushed to an extreme on purpose as a one-off novelty, a neat trick on one song. It is worth separating this from two other things people often confuse it with. Roger Troutman's TalkBox and Teddy Riley's vocoder are older, completely different technologies, hardware that physically shapes a voice. Auto-tune is software, correcting pitch. T-Pain has cited Troutman's electronically altered voice as an inspiration, but the actual tool is nothing alike. What nobody does, before T-Pain, is take that hidden studio trick and make it the entire point, on every song, on a whole album. T-Pain did not invent auto-tune, and he is not the first person ever to use it on a hip-hop or R&B record. What he does is something nobody had done before him: turn a correction tool into a costume, a permanent, unmistakable identity, worn on every hook, every verse, every album. He has told the story himself. He first noticed that warped, glitching quality on a Rodney Jerkins remix of a Jennifer Lopez song back in 1999, one brief moment tucked inside somebody else's track. It took him roughly 2 years of searching before he got his hands on the actual software. Once he has it, he does not use it the way everyone before him did, as an occasional touch-up. He runs it constantly, all the way, until the processed voice basically becomes the artist. By the time Epiphany drops, that voice is inseparable from the man. Epiphany's calling card is 3 singles, and each one is its own small piece of theater. Buy You a Drink, Shawty Snappin', featuring Young Jock, is built around the oldest scene in a club, walking up to someone and making your case. The subtitle is a direct nod to snap music, the finger-snapping sound moving through the South right then, added at his own label's request. T-Pain makes it his version of that sound, not a copy of the scene itself. and the hook turns into shorthand, for a while, for that exact kind of club approach. It becomes his signature song and his biggest hit, a #1 on the Hot 100 in May of 2007, and to this day the only Hot 100 #1 he has ever had as the lead artist. Bartender, with Akon, is a quieter story. Less the pickup, more the whole night with one person. A smooth, gliding melody wrapped around it. It follows Buy You a Drink to #5. Church, featuring Teddy Versetti, turns a bad night into a loud, half-comic performance. T-Pain playing preacher and party host at once. It is the third single, with a smaller footprint, and his voice is not confined to his own album that year. Featured on Florida's Low, released the same year, T-Pain helps deliver another #1, a song that eventually spends 10 consecutive weeks at the top of the Hot 100, the longest run of any song on the chart in 2008. For a stretch there, in 2007, you cannot turn on the radio without hearing that processed voice, on his songs and everyone else's. Strip away the auto-tune conversation for a second, and there is a genuine songwriter underneath it. T-Pain produces Epiphany entirely himself, and he is the sole credited writer on most of its 17 tracks. He has talked about songwriting less like a singer chasing a sound and more like a composer, insisting on melodies that are actually his, not borrowed from whatever already works for somebody else. Academic writing on his broader body of work has made a similar point in more technical language, that his songs create their effect through how the melody and rhythm are actually built, not just through the vocal processing sitting on top of them. Auto-tune, in that reading, is not the song. It is an amplifier on a song that already works underneath it. That distinction gets lost almost immediately in 2007. The public conversation is about the voice, the actual engineering, the hooks that get stuck in your head, the structures built to move a room gets a lot less credit. And that is just his own album. For 2 weeks in late 2007, T-Pain's voice is on 3 different Billboard Top 10 hits at the same time, all of them other artists' records: Kiss Kiss, Good Life, and Cyclone. On Kiss Kiss, Chris Brown's auto-tuned hit that fall, T-Pain co-writes it and handles the intro and the backing vocals, and Brown's own hook is drenched in so much of that same processed sound that even close listeners have a hard time telling the two voices apart. On Good Life, he co-writes Kanye West's hook, and the song goes on to win the Grammy for Best Rap Song. And that still is not the full list. That same year, he is also on Plies' Shawty, DJ Khaled's I'm So Hood, and Bow Wow's Out of My System, all charting, all 2007. While Epiphany holds its own spot on the chart, his voice is also sitting on top of half the other hits in the format, not as a favor to a friend, as the single most in-demand hook in the business. 2007 was resetting a lot more than the radio, too. That April, a subprime lender called New Century Financial collapses, quietly, the first real crack in a mortgage market that is about to take down the global economy the following year. Almost nobody watching it yet knows how big that crack really is. Weeks before Epiphany drops, Facebook opens itself up to outside developers, turning a social network into something people build their whole identity around. And 3 weeks after, Apple puts the first iPhone on sale, and how people carry music and pretty much everything else changes for good. So look at where T-Pain actually stands in 2007. #1 album, #1 single, his own, A Hand in Another Artist, #1. By any commercial measure, he is one of the most successful people in music that year. And at the exact same time, a real and growing chorus of critics and hip-hop purists are calling his signature sound a gimmick, a crutch, proof, they say, that he cannot really sing. Both of those things are true at once. He is the industry's most reliable hitmaker and its favorite target in the same 12 months. The criticism is not just noise online. T-Pain has said Usher once told him, flatly, that he had ruined music. He has talked about how much that stuck with him. But underneath the mockery, something else is happening. Producers across hip-hop and R&B start reaching for the same effect. It gets a nickname of its own, the T-Pain effect. Artists who publicly roll their eyes at him are, in some cases, quietly asking for that same processed vocal on their own records. So the real picture is not everybody hated him. It is messier than that. He is, at the same time, a punchline in interviews and the most in-demand collaborator in the building, scorned and imitated, often by the same people. A year before that, Kanye and T-Pain had already worked together directly. Good Life, off Kanye's Graduation, with T-Pain co-writing the hook. It wins the Grammy for Best Rap Song. So when Kanye West releases 808s and Heartbreak in November of 2008, an album soaked in auto-tuned, emotionally raw singing, this is not two strangers meeting for the first time. It becomes one of the most influential records of the decade, reshaping pop and hip-hop for years afterward. T-Pain has talked about this era in complicated terms. By his own account, Kanye told him directly that he had listened to rapper, turned singer, and built 808s and Heartbreak out of that same sound, going as far as calling it basically a direct copy of his debut. But T-Pain has also described something less flattering from around those same sessions. Kanye, by T-Pain's account, cut an unreleased track in the studio mocking his ideas, with the whole room joining in. Kanye has never publicly confirmed either story, so the most influential auto-tune album of the era arrives after Epiphany, arguably built on it, from a collaborator T-Pain had already worked with directly, credited to T-Pain only in a private room, never in public. Then, in June of 2009, Jay-Z releases the first single off the Blueprint 3. He titles it D.O.A, Death of Auto-Tune. Jay-Z frames it as a shot at a trend, not at any one artist by name. But T-Pain is, by far, the most recognizable face of that trend, and he has said he felt personally targeted. There is no famous answer track, no direct comeback single. His response plays out in interviews, not on a record. One of the biggest voices in hip-hop has just declared the sound dead. T-Pain is still selling records. Fast forward to October 29, 2014. T-Pain sits down behind a small desk at NPR's offices in Washington, D.C. for what has become known as a tiny desk concert. No stage effects, no engineering tricks, just him, a live band, and a small room of NPR staff standing a few feet away. He performs Buy You a Drink and several other songs, completely unprocessed, nothing but his real, raw voice. It is, for a lot of people watching, the first time they realize he could actually sing the whole time. The clip spreads everywhere. Overnight, the conversation around him shifts from the auto-tune guy who can't sing to something much closer to respect. Look at where Epiphany actually lands years later. It is certified double platinum by the RIAA, official as of June of 2022, 15 years after it first came out. The album itself never earns a Grammy nomination, though its single Bartender does, nominated for Best R&B Performance by a duo or group at the 2008 Grammys, where it loses to the pairing of Chaka Khan and Mary J. Blige. Buy You a Drink stays his only #1 as a lead artist. Low, the Flo Rida song he is featured on, holds the record for the longest run at #1 on the Hot 100 in all of 2008. And in June of 2026, T-Pain headlines the pre-game concert ahead of Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final in Las Vegas, on a tour marking 20 years since his debut. The NHL introduces him as a Grammy Award-winning artist, producer, and global cultural icon. The industry that once treated him as a punchline is still booking him, decades later. None of it happens in a vacuum. The sound T-Pain built his whole identity around becomes the default setting for hip-hop and pop for the next 2 decades. You can hear its fingerprints all over the next generation of hitmakers, whether they credit him or not. He was the punchline of 2007. The entire time, he was also the artist everyone else was quietly trying to sound like. That is the Epiphany. That is when it dropped.